Hey, I've been so excited to have this conversation for a long minute. My name is EDK in conversation today with the very talented Odenose.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
A bit of nerves that I'm feeling. What's going on here? How are you feeling right now?
I'm terrified and excited.
Yeah?
It's been a long day of shooting, so I'm definitely looking forward to the results. So yeah, a very interesting mix of emotions.
So I want to cast your mind back. I don't know if you remember, because I'm sure so many stage performances, but I remember the very first time I saw you in performance. I think it was 2021, it was December, it was Mama Cafe. You went on stage, you performed some covers, and then you hit some notes that I won't lie, at the beginning I was kind of like, okay, this is warm, this is sound, and then you hit those notes and I thought, that's incredible. How many times in your life do you hear the word "you're incredible"? The words?
A couple of times.
Yeah. Do you believe it? Do you think you're incredible?
Yeah, on most days I do. Yeah. I mean, obviously there are those interesting days when I need that extra self-belief and confidence, but like, yeah, I'm doing it.
You doubt yourself.
Oh my God. Who doesn't? I definitely do. I mean, these days I try to keep the doubting days few and far apart, but there's only so much I can do. There's only so much any creative can do, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
So here's what I want us to do together. Let's go on a bit of a journey, right? So I've listened to your project, MissChief, which is interesting in the way that, first of all, you call it and the way you spell it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? There's the word miss and then chief. But obviously you mean MissChief. Why?
Because I consider myself to be a little bit of a mischievous person sometimes. Not that I like to play tricks or anything. I feel like sometimes I like to poke things and find out why and like question things and, you know, not necessarily like stir people up, but like sometimes very pointy questions can be upsetting. So, and I find that terrain interesting, and I'm quite curious as well about like things in general, like just why people are people and why they do the things that they do and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'm a little bit mischievous, but then I wanted to play on the words.
Yeah.
You've listened to the song, the
I have
title
the
track.
actual track.
Yeah, so it's a pun in the end.
Yeah. And that leads us further back into your journey as a child.
Yeah.
But you were definitely a mischievous child then. I mean,
So.
if we ask your dad right now, would he confirm or deny this?
My dad thinks I was the cutest child ever to walk the planet. So yeah, that's that.
So tell me about him and your relationship with him, because I listened to Father's Prayer and it was so powerful. I remember one of the conversations we were having prior to this actual meeting is, were you there when he was recording that?
No, I wasn't.
But when you heard it, how did that make you feel for the first time?
Warm and you know, so many emotions. My dad is my only biological parent alive, so he means like everything to me. You know, and just to hear him like say those words over my life, it felt like some kind of release, you know, just into the world, and like I have his backing, you know, and that's very important to me, to have the backing of my people. Yes.
So growing up, what was around the house that influenced you to sing?
So much music. So much music. My dad is like a jazz head, you know. So there was always like Nat King Cole albums playing, you know, Charlie Parker. We used to listen to a lot of gospel as well. So Kirk Franklin, Donnie McClurkin, what's his name? A lot of gospel artists. Yolanda Adams was also one of our faves. I thought she was quite dramatic, and I think in some ways maybe she has had some kind of influence on.
Kinda, or a little bit more, because you call her dramatic, and you're on stage.
Well,
you bring on the drama, you know.
I try.
Yeah.
try.
Your father called you while praying for you. He said that you're the epitome of music. I thought those were incredibly powerful words.
Yeah.
How much of a responsibility do you feel?
Do you understand?
When you hear that?
Do you understand? Like it's some kind of prophecy and just seeing into the future and just declaring and it holds so much power.
Yes.
Because he's my dad, and just to like hear him, say those kind of powerful words, it's pretty much all the strength I need, to just go out into the world and kill it.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Now, I need to know at what point in your life, as a child, do you remember like a particular incident that happened that you thought, oh, I'm really creative, I can do things?
Tricky. I mean, I always kind of felt like my voice was something. Yeah, so I would sing a lot. My dad would tell you that I was singing on my mother's back.
Oh, wow.
As tiny as like a very little toddler. So, I mean, it's always kind of been a very strong interest of mine and just something that I've always enjoyed doing. And I've always found a way to do, no matter like where I was, or so obviously like the choir and all that. But I remember getting into senior secondary school in Buari and just watching for the first couple of days, and then one day randomly I sang in class. Yeah. And everybody was like, "Oh my god!" Yeah. And it was definitely interesting to just get that kind of response. So I'll say that was like one of the interesting moments that like made me feel like, oh, there's something here.
Are you used to it now? Because the oh my, I had the oh my god thing as well when you started singing, and I know people who in conversations with them I said, oh, there's this singer that I like in Abuja, and they're like, wait, I know her too, and they're like, oh my god, the first time I heard, there's always the first time they hear Odenose on the microphone performing, because you've done a lot of more live performances in actual. It's always like, oh my god, do you ever get used to that?
No.
It still shocks you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware that, and I have put in some time into like working my craft, so I'm aware that I do my job pretty well. Obviously, there's still a lot of room and space to grow and expand and just kill it, but like I'm aware, but still, every time somebody new comes and just acknowledges again, it's just like, oh, interesting. Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, and let's keep doing this.
Welcome to the show.
You
recorded MissChief over 5 years. All right.
Yeah.
First two tracks were, I think you said they were Thursday Morning and Distraction.
And MissChief.
No, and MissChief itself.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, when you first recorded MissChief all these years ago, what was in your head for like the future of your career and just your growth as a person at the time? Where were you?
I just wanted to be an artist. So I've been like a band girl for the longest. I've played with a couple of bands, doing cover shows and things like that, and just performing and just getting better and getting better. So at that point, I was still very green and just trying to figure it out and like understand, okay, what direction am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to try and write? What's the next thing to do? Just trying to understand how the industry works and all that, so I wouldn't say that I knew necessarily what my trajectory or my plan was at the time of writing those songs. I just thought, I should try and write something. For a long time I didn't give myself permission to write because I felt like the stuff I used to write wasn't good enough. But then I stumbled across somebody saying that like, if you don't try again and allow yourself to fall and fail as many times as you need to, you probably never get to that point where you feel like, okay, I now have something good. So I decided to just start trying. Thursday Morning was like off the spur of the moment. It just happened on a Thursday morning.
Really?
Yeah, I was at a rehearsal with one of the bands I used to play with, and
Yeah.
the keyboardist was playing something. He's the producer of the album, by the way. That's Effective.
Okay.
Shout out.
Yeah.
And he was just playing the 2 chords on Thursday morning, and I just started singing "Thank God It's Thursday Morning," and then I go with a couple of my friends and we wrote the rest of the song, and it was just nice. Oh, my first song, lovely. My first official song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then MissChief was just, I thought it was an interesting, so the idea came to my head and I thought it was an interesting play on words. My name is MissChief and I'm very understanding. You can call me Misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting, and then I fleshed it out along the line. Yeah, so basically it's just been a lot of trying and figuring it out.
So what would you say are some of the themes that you explored in MissChief? I mean, I for example, one of my favorites, instant favorites, is Time, which I heard for the first time when you shared the music with me. I mean, there are tracks that are familiar to me, like, you know, Cold Weather Lover, which I've seen you perform. So I was just playing it in the car and I was driving. It was literally raining.
Wow.
It's cold.
Yeah.
And then I just found myself singing along because I know the lyrics very well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I do. And she was to my spine, where the lover. So when you explore all those sort of themes, right? Love, you know, friendship, just the things you do. What is in your head when you're penning down around these other themes? And why did you decide to explore these themes in your music?
Yeah, I mean, so many different things, because I feel like as a person that there are so many parts to me, and there are so many things to articulate and express, and like my choice of medium is music. So I feel like people will learn a lot about me generally from some of my songs and like the direction that I like to write in. You mentioned Time. For Time, I was having a very bad day, and I had been crying like pretty much all morning, and then I sat and I went on YouTube. So one thing I try to do these days, because I find that when I feel negative emotions, one of the best ways for me to release is to convert the energy into like a song and like a positive thing, like a work of art. And so I went on YouTube and I just looked for beats, and I also do that often. And then I started writing, and I literally wrote the entire song. It doesn't happen to me all the time, but for Time, I wrote everything down. Like I just wrote it once, and it felt like I was downloading something and, you know, putting it on paper, as opposed to like, oh, I'm coming up with a song. I didn't think about it. The thing that was even making me sad had nothing to do with the theme. It was just, that was how I translated or transmuted that energy into art, you know. So
because, and it's a good thing that you made the clarification now, because obviously I was going to ask, what were you feeling to write a song like Time? Because I've gone through something in my life that it was basically time. It's like, you know, two lovers who sort of like missed the point at different times. They're trying to fix things, but things have moved on since, and it's a really difficult space to be in. Is that a space that you've been in?
Definitely, it is. So the thing is, like, I feel like sometimes when things happen, it's not very easy to articulate in the moment. Like, okay, this is what has happened, and this is how I feel, and this is what I'm going to do, or this is how I'm going to behave next time, or, you know, sometimes it takes a little while for you to actually like sit down with the emotions and understand them and unpeel them, you know. And I have gone through an experience like the one you hear about in Time, but at the time that it happened, I wasn't inspired to write or anything. I didn't feel like doing something. I just let it be. So I guess maybe that emotion was somewhere bottled up inside of me, and then that day it just opened up and finally became words, you know? So, yeah.
When people hear your project, MissChief, they're going to be taking you through a journey of just different emotions, different themes, and there's some songs there that sound like you are literally on stage in front of the person performing them, right?
Yeah.
If one was to use a word or a phrase to describe the kind of music you make, what would you prefer it be called?
I would say conscious, you know, just because it's about real life and real things that happen to real people, a real person. And I mean, obviously, sometimes I'll play around with the music. I think MissChief is one of the songs where I just pretty much joke. But then there's still some juice in there.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, in general, I like to make music that is honest and that I like, you know? So, yeah, I would say conscious.
I think it's brilliant that you used honest, because that's one of the emotions I feel when I watch you perform, and one of the things that grabbed at me as well while listening to
Thank
it.
you.
So, projects coming out soon.
Yeah,
You're doing all sorts of work around it.
You know?
Just on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your excitement level right now?
59.
Yeah?
I am excited to bits. I cannot wait for the album to finally drop.
Yeah.
And for people to hear it. I mean, it's exciting and terrifying. Those are the two words always, because I don't know how people are going to respond or react to the album. But then I'm hopeful. I like it. I hope that I find more people like me that also like it.
Yeah.
More people like EDK and I.
We
You know?
love it a lot. So again, the thing I'm most looking forward to be on streaming it is you on several stages.
Word.
Performing it. Just one more thing before we go. I want to sort of know how you collect experiences and how they influence your music, because I know recently you toured with your band in Spain.
Yeah.
What did you pick from there, and did any of those bits make it to the album?
Oh,
or you done recording already?
You know, mostly I was done writing most of it. So yeah, definitely. I feel like most of what I gathered in Spain will reflect on maybe the next body of work that I drop. I feel like there was a lot of like upbeat and interesting vibes that I definitely like caught on to. Yeah. And then for a while now I've been feeling one wave of house.
No way. I love house.
So I know. So yeah, there will be like stuff like that in the future.
Okay.
Definitely.
So looking forward to the future then. So right now, MissChief is on.
Yeah.
So proud, by the way, of the work you put in. I'm
you
such
so
a big
much.
fan. I think you know this already. I gush about it all the time.
Thank you, EDK.
You know? So I'm looking forward to the magic that it will come out of this. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having a conversation with me too.
All right.
I wouldn't say that it was something that I welcomed with an open arm. No, it was a very difficult one. Matter of fact, it took a lot of, reflection, a lot of having to let go to permit it. It was a difficult one. It was a very difficult one. More so that Odenose is my first child, the very sign of my strength. You know how it is. In this part of the world, you want your very first child to be a model for every other child. So it was not an easy decision to make. It wasn't easy at all. Naturally, the word MissChief connotes something that is negative, like being troublesome, being a non-conformist, and the likes. But when I discussed the title with her, I said, how did you come about this title? She said, Daddy, you call me your number one. I'm your first child. I'm a miss. I'm also a chief in your house. So it's a fusion of two things. She's a miss, she's not married. By the way, if you are interested, see me later. And she's a chief in my house. So that's the combo, MissChief. So it's a play on words. I wouldn't say Odi was mischievous, but Odi has always been a very bright child. And when I say this, I say it with every sense of, responsibility. She has always been a very bright child. I tell my the other ones, the younger ones, that look, I wish you guys were like Odi. Growing up, Odi was always a leader, was always a frontliner. It wasn't just enough that she's the first child of the family, but she led in every way. If you came to our house back then, I still say it to the young ones, I say, nobody won prizes like Odi. When you come to the wardrobe in the room, you will see her prizes, all kinds of things. So she has always been a bright child. But as children grow, they evolve. So I would say that Odi is evolving. She's on a journey. Whether she's mischievous, Odi can be mischievous sometimes, but in a good way. She's that child that can come and tickle me. Do you understand? There are, others have this sense of, hey, my father, hey. But Odi has that thing that she can tickle me. She's the one who can come close and say, Daddy, why is your face like this? You don't seem to be happy. So I say, look, I'm okay. He said, no, I know you, Daddy. So in that sense, she's not really mischievous, but she's mischievous. You see me sitting here. I used to be a DJ way back in Lagos, many years ago. And I'm an eclectic kind of person. A cross between the old and the new. Growing up, I was exposed to all kinds of music. I grew up listening to Congo music, what you call today, what is it called? Those kind of Awilos kind of sound. What do you call them? Music from the Congo, Makossa. My father played a lot of Makossa. Usually musical influences come from what you were used to listening to while growing up. So my father used to play a lot of Makossa. And I used to see my father take my mother on a spin. Especially when salary has been paid, my father would come home, dance with my mother. It used to make me happy. So my interest in music started from there. Growing up, secondary school days, we played some reggae. Played Bob Marley and the likes. Of course, by the time I started working, I started listening to jazz. I did a lot of jazz. It will surprise you to know that I've always thought Odi was going to emerge as a jazz musician. But Afrobeat and the likes, that's what's in vogue right now. So those musical influences have been there. Growing up at home, Odi was exposed to some of these musical, influences too, because she will hear me play music and she started picking it up. It will surprise you to know that Odi started singing even before she started walking. And I mean it. Odi was like 8 months old, and on her mother's back, she can form words, she can sing, she can do all kinds of things. So I'm not really too surprised that she has decided to follow her passion.
Miga yeleze emogenelu nameo. Miga yeleze emogenelu nameo. Miga yeleze emogenelu nameo. Migbeno bini kiso igbeno gogbe aya o. Miga yeleze emi abalu name o. Miga yeleze emogenelu name o. Miga yeleze emogenelu name o. Migbeno bini kiso igbeno gogbe aya o. My name is Bimpe. Everybody calls me Auntie B. All my nieces and nephews call me Auntie B. Odenose is my niece. I am her father's younger sister. That's my relationship with her. Much more than that anyway. Odenose has always been my favorite among all my nieces. I don't see her as my niece, I see her as my friend, like my immediate younger sister. I could relate anything with her. That is how close we are. That day I felt good, I felt great, as in see myself sing in my precious niece's album. It was a huge honor. I was really excited. At first I was really shy. I thought I was not going to do well, but somehow I did well and everybody was happy and I was really happy. I got home and I told my children, your mommy sang today at the studio. It was really nice. I was really happy. We should be expecting something far greater and bigger than what she has ever done. We should be expecting to hear music. I'm sure when people from home hear this song, they will really be excited, as in see one of their daughters sing in the dialect song. It's really going to go very far, and it's going to really make everyone happy, just like it's making us happy now. Everybody in the family is happy about it, so I know it will go a very long way.
Begin your meditation by finding a comfortable position. Take a deep breath and focus on the feeling of
my relationship with Odenose started out as that of honestly fun, like sort of like we were each other's fans. I think I appreciated and admired her practice as a performer on stage. She always showed up with so much energy and she had a style that stood out for me. And she had a spirit, like when she was on stage, she definitely brought a certain level of power, feminine, but powerful energy, at its core, or at her core. That was what her core was. And this for me definitely stood out in the way that she always owned the stage and carried her audience along. And I think she also admired my practice as a performer. And like this, we became collaborators and we would partner together on each other's projects. Odenose is a beautiful performer and she has an amazing voice. An amazing voice, yes. Well, part of my practice, I'm a movement artist majorly, but I also engage other practices. So I would describe myself as a multidisciplinary artist. And part of my practice is basically entails that like teaching meditation, holding spaces for rest and for people to basically access breath within their bodies. And so when Odie reached out to me to come on and feature creating the interlude, something that had to do with gratitude, I was automatically, open to exploring that with her. And it definitely felt really nice. I was grateful to be able to bring people into a space of gratitude.
Begin your meditation by finding a comfortable position. Take a deep breath. Focus on the
But I also think that it's very unique, beautiful to be able to bring this essence of like mindfulness on a music track. It's not something that's like, come on, only a few artists, maybe like Cleo Soul, and a few others actually that I listen to do that. So it's really beautiful to find that Odie is also like bringing herself, not just her voice and, her written songs, but bringing herself on this track and like bringing all other people who, already like journeying with her in her real world on the track. Hence, the meditation interlude that, I shared on the track. But yes, it definitely felt nice to create that and share it on Odie's track, on Odie's album. Yes. The topic of spirituality, I think, is one that sometimes can be controversial because a lot of people also interchange that with the idea of religion. But I think that spirituality is a very personal, it's very personal and unique to each person and each person's practice, right? It's, for me, a sense of awareness, just acknowledging that we humans do not simply exist on one plane, which is physical, and that it is important to acknowledge like all of the realities and essence that we carry. And a part of that is that we are also spiritual beings. And I can talk about this on a lot of planes. I'm speaking as a Christian, as a yogi, and even as a Yoruba person. The Yoruba ontology also believes that like man exists in different planes. I'm talking the physical world, which basically entails like the physical body. There's a spirit realm, and then there's the soul, and that in itself is like, different realms that human beings exist on. But speaking particularly to Odie's track was really about mindfulness, like carrying a sense of awareness. It's a very, how do I say, like the reality that we all live is very difficult and complicated. And a lot of times, like even creating the album, I'm sure like that there were times for Odie where she felt like really low, whether writing, recording, but also in her music journey and career, like it's not every time you get on the high. And one of the most important things I think that takes you through that journey is that through the journey, whether you're faced with a challenge or a difficult time, that you are able to carry with you a sense of gratitude through each phase, through the high phase, through the not so high phase, and through the very, very low phase. Because then gratitude allows you to look back, but it also allows you to look forward with hope, And I think that's where it really connects. I would like to speak to the fact that sometimes when we say spirituality, the concept sometimes seems big, but I don't think it's far from how we choose to navigate the world, really, the mindfulness with which we choose to move through the world in connection with others. To be honest, Odie's Delilah has always been one of my favorites. Delilah, Delilah, reminder, no lose God, eh? And I remember having a conversation with her about the song and what it meant for her, like where that was coming from, And I think that it was essentially a reminder, like to kind of stay strong. In my viewpoint, I don't think that it was necessarily about Delilah, like not losing God. Maybe it was more about Solomon actually losing God if you wanted to relate it to like the story in the Bible. But it's a reminder to kind of like stay awake, like don't fall asleep, you know, don't fall asleep. Don't allow yourself get carried away, irrespective of whatever situation is or where you find yourself. And so it wasn't very difficult to step into the space and engage the music. The set was nice. The director was really amazing. The other performers were really, the energy was right. So it wasn't difficult to step in and allow myself embody the essence of what was happening, you know. So this for me was very easy. Besides having the conversation with Odenose behind the scenes before the shoot, definitely made it easy for me to come in. I hope that the album sells. And I hope that the album brings Odie a lot of light, because she is light and the world deserves to see that light. Thank you.